Have you ever wondered what happens when worlds collide? When someone with everything meets someone with seemingly nothing? Stay until the end to discover how love transcends social barriers in the most unexpected ways. If this journey touches your heart, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more stories that remind us what truly matters. The charity gala glittered with crystal chandeliers and designer gowns, but Alexandra Hayes stood alone by the window, a glass of untouched champagne in her hand. At 32, she had amassed a fortune that put her on Forbes' list and built a tech empire that revolutionized renewable energy. Yet tonight, surrounded by admirers and potential business partners, she felt the familiar emptiness closing in. "Ms. Hayes, there's an issue with the catering staff," her assistant whispered urgently. Alexandra followed her to the kitchen, where chaos reigned. The head chef had collapsed, and paramedics were loading him onto a stretcher. Behind them, a tall man with dark hair and worried eyes seemed to be taking control, calmly directing the remaining staff. "Who is that?" Alexandra asked. "Marco Diaz. He's the sous chef, single father of a 7-year-old girl. He wasn't supposed to be working tonight but came in last minute when someone called out sick." Alexandra watched as Marco reorganized the kitchen with quiet authority. Something about his focused determination stirred her curiosity. When the crisis was contained, she approached him. "You saved my event, Mr. Diaz. I'd like to thank you properly." Marco wiped his hands on his apron, surprised. "Just doing my job, Ms. Hayes." "Have dinner with me," she said, the words escaping before she could consider them. When he hesitated, she added, "I'm serious about expanding our catering services. I could use your expertise." It wasn't entirely untrue, but it wasn't her real motivation either. For the first time in years, Alexandra felt something genuine, interest in someone who hadn't approached her for her money or influence. Marco ran a hand through his dark hair. "I'm sorry, but I have my daughter to consider. I can't just." "Bring her along," Alexandra suggested. "My treat. Tomorrow at 7? La Maison on 5th? The name of the exclusive restaurant made Marco's eyes widen. "That's too generous. Consider it a business dinner," she insisted, though she already knew it would be much more. Marco lived in a modest 2-bedroom apartment in Queens, worlds away from Alexandra's penthouse overlooking Central Park. As he helped his daughter, Lily, with her homework, his mind kept returning to the strange invitation. "Dad, you're not listening," Lily complained, tugging at his sleeve. "Sorry, Mija," he said, refocusing on her math problems. "I met someone interesting today." "A girlfriend?" Lily asked hopefully, her eyes lighting up behind her glasses. Marco laughed. "No, nothing like that. Just a business contact." Later, after tucking Lily in, Marco called his mother. "Can you watch Lily tomorrow night? I have a dinner meeting." Elena Diaz heard something in her son's voice. "With who?" "That woman from the gala? The one Lily's teacher can't stop talking about, the billionaire?" "It's just business, Mama." "Marco, people like that don't have just business dinners with people like us." He sighed. "She wants to discuss catering services." "At La Maison? With you bringing Lily?" His mother's tone was skeptical. "Be careful, Mijo. The rich have different rules." Alexandra rarely felt nervous, but as 7 o'clock approached, she changed outfits 3 times. Her assistant, Vivian, watched in amazement. "I haven't seen you this worked up since the IPO," Vivian remarked. "I'm not worked up," Alexandra insisted, settling on a simple black dress that cost more than Marco's monthly rent but didn't advertise it. "I just want to make them comfortable." "Them? The chef is bringing his kid?" Vivian's eyebrows shot up. "Alex, what are you doing?" "Having dinner. Maybe making new friends." "Your parents are calling again," Vivian said, holding up Alexandra's phone. They want to know if you're attending their anniversary weekend. Alexandra groaned. Her parents' expectations weighed on her constantly: marry well, expand the family influence, behave like old money despite being new money. Tell them I'll call tomorrow. La Maison was intimidatingly elegant. Marco, wearing his one good suit, felt out of place despite Lily's excitement. She wore her favorite dress and had insisted on bringing a small gift, a handmade bracelet of colorful beads. Alexandra was already waiting, looking both sophisticated and somehow vulnerable. Her face brightened when she spotted them. "You must be Lily," she said, kneeling to the girl's eye level. "I'm Alex." "You're pretty," Lily said frankly. "Are you really a billionaire?" "Lily." Marco was mortified. Alexandra laughed genuinely. "Sometimes the bank says so. But do you know what? Money isn't very interesting. I'd rather hear about you." Throughout dinner, Alexandra directed most of her attention to Lily, asking about school and her interests. Marco watched, initially suspicious of her motives, but gradually relaxing as he saw the genuine connection forming. "Dad makes the best empanadas," Lily announced proudly. "Better than this food." Marco wanted to disappear, but Alexandra leaned forward. "I believe it. Maybe he'll make them for me someday." The evening passed in a blur of conversation that flowed more easily than Marco expected. Alexandra shared stories of her early struggles before her company took off, revealing a person behind the wealth who understood hard work and setbacks. When Lily excused herself to the restroom, chaperoned by a female server, Alexandra turned to Marco. "Thank you for coming. I haven't enjoyed a dinner this much in years." "Why me?" he asked directly. "You could have dinner with anyone." She considered her answer carefully. "Because when everything was falling apart in that kitchen, you didn't panic or blame anyone. You just fixed it. Do you know how rare that is in my world? Everyone either wants something from me or is afraid to tell me the truth." Before Marco could respond, Lily returned, and the moment passed. But something had shifted between them. Weeks passed, and to Marco's surprise, Alexandra kept finding reasons to see them. She attended Lily's school science fair. He prepared a family meal at her penthouse. They walked through autumn in Central Park, three figures increasingly comfortable together. "My dad likes you," Lily informed Alexandra one afternoon as they fed ducks while Marco bought hot chocolate. Alexandra felt warmth spread through her chest. "I like him too. Are you going to be my new mom?" The question caught Alexandra off guard. "Oh, Lily, relationships are complicated. Your dad and I are just getting to know each other." "He smiles more now," Lily said simply. When Marco returned, Alexandra found herself studying his face, the laugh lines around his eyes, the way his expression softened when he looked at his daughter. She was falling for him, she realized with a jolt of terror and excitement. For Marco, the revelation came during a crisis. When Lily developed a high fever in the middle of the night, he found himself calling Alexandra instead of his mother. She arrived at the emergency room before the doctor did, using her connections to ensure Lily received immediate attention. "You didn't have to come," Marco said, exhausted, as they watched Lily sleeping peacefully after her fever broke. Alexandra took his hand. "Yes, I did." He looked at their intertwined fingers. "This isn't just friendship anymore, is it?" She met his eyes. "Not for me. People will talk. They'll say I'm after your money. Let them." She squeezed his hand. "I know the truth." The truth became complicated when Alexandra's parents unexpectedly returned from Europe and insisted she attend their anniversary celebration at their Hampton estate. They had plans for her to reconnect with the son of a business associate, the suitable match they'd been promoting for years. "Bring someone if you must," her mother said dismissively, "but do come, darling. Everyone will be there." Alexandra made her decision impulsively. "I'll bring my boyfriend." There was a startled silence on the phone. Boyfriend? Who is he? Which family? You'll meet him this weekend, Alexandra said and hung up before she could reconsider. When she asked Marco to accompany her, she downplayed the significance. Just a family gathering. Casual. In the Hamptons? Nothing there is casual, Alex. His use of her nickname softened his words. Are you sure you want to introduce me to your world? You are my world now, she said simply. The Hayes estate sprawled across manicured acres overlooking the Atlantic. Marco felt every inch the outsider as the driver unloaded their bags. Lily, who Alexandra had insisted should come too, was wide-eyed with wonder. It's like a castle, she whispered. Alexandra's parents, Catherine and Richard Hayes, greeted them on the grand staircase. Their smiles froze when they saw Marco and Lily. Alexandra, darling, Catherine air-kissed her daughter's cheeks. You didn't mention you were bringing guests. I mentioned I was bringing my boyfriend, Alexandra said firmly, taking Marco's hand. This is Marco Diaz and his daughter Lily. Catherine's eyes widened fractionally. Richard's jaw tightened. How unexpected, Richard said. Marco, what is it that you do? I'm a chef, Marco answered, standing straighter. How fascinating, Catherine said in a tone that suggested it was anything but. Alexandra always did enjoy culinary adventures. Alexandra felt Marco tense beside her. Marco is an extraordinary chef. He saved the Children's Hospital Gala. Did he? Richard's voice held polite disinterest. Well, the Andersons will be arriving shortly. Their son James is joining us. You remember James from Yale, don't you, Alexandra? The message couldn't have been clearer. Marco was not the boyfriend they had in mind. The weekend unfolded like a carefully orchestrated battle. The Hayes paraded a succession of suitable men before Alexandra while relegating Marco to conversations about the house's interesting kitchen renovations. Lily, at least, was having fun, befriending the groundskeeper's granddaughter. During dinner that evening, Catherine orchestrated the seating to separate Alexandra from Marco, placing her next to James Anderson, who spoke incessantly about his hedge fund. Mother, Alexandra interrupted loudly, setting down her fork. I'd like to switch seats to sit next to Marco. A hush fell over the table. Alexandra, Catherine hissed. You're being rude to James. No, what's rude is pretending my relationship doesn't exist because Marco doesn't fit your narrow definition of acceptable. Richard intervened smoothly. Perhaps we could discuss this privately, Alexandra. There's nothing to discuss, she said, standing. Marco and I are together. He's kind, hardworking, and genuine, qualities that seem in short supply here. She left the table, and Marco followed after a moment's hesitation. He found her on the terrace, arms wrapped around herself. I'm sorry, she said when she heard his footsteps. I shouldn't have brought you here under false pretenses. I knew how they would react. Did you bring me here to prove something to them or to yourself? Marco asked quietly. The question hit her like a physical blow. What do you mean? Are you with me because you genuinely care for me, or because I represent some rebellion against your parents' expectations? Alexandra turned to face him, her eyes bright with unshed tears. How can you ask me that? After everything. Because I need to know if what's between us is real, he said. For Lily's sake as much as mine. She's already getting attached to you. And I'm attached to her. To both of you. Alexandra took his hands. This isn't about rebellion. It's about finally finding someone who sees me, not my bank account, not my family name. Just me. Marco studied her face. Your parents will never approve. Then they'll miss out on knowing an amazing man and his incredible daughter. The next morning, Alexandra made her decision. She found her parents having coffee on the sunroom. We need to talk, she said, sitting across from them. Catherine sighed. If this is about your chef, darling, we understand youthful exploration, but it's not exploration, Mother. I love him. Richard lowered his newspaper. Love? Alexandra, be reasonable. You barely know him. I know what matters. He values me for who I am, not what I own or who my family is. And you don't think your wealth is exactly why he's interested? Catherine asked sharply. Alexandra felt a surge of anger. Marco didn't even want to date me at first. He was worried about exactly these kinds of assumptions. People like that are always calculating, Richard said dismissively. People like what, Dad? Working class? Immigrants? Single parents? Which prejudice are we indulging today? Her father reddened. That's unfair, Alexandra. No, what's unfair is judging someone without knowing them. She stood up. Marco and Lily are leaving today. I'm going with them. Don't be dramatic, Catherine said. I'm not being dramatic. I'm being honest. I came here hoping you might surprise me, that you might see Marco for the wonderful man he is. Instead, you confirmed every fear he had about not belonging in my world. And what about your world? Richard asked. Do you really think you'll be happy living in some apartment in Queens? Shopping at discount stores? Having your child attend public school? Alexandra smiled sadly. The fact that you think those things would make me unhappy shows how little you know me. As she turned to leave, Catherine called after her. Alexandra, if you leave with him now, you're choosing a path that will make life very difficult. Alexandra paused at the door. Actually, Mother, for the first time, I'm choosing a path that feels absolutely right. The drive back to the city was quiet, Lily asleep in the back seat. Finally, Marco broke the silence. You didn't have to leave because of us. I left because of me, Alexandra said. Because I couldn't stay and pretend to be someone I'm not anymore. She glanced at him. But I should have been honest from the start about the weekend. I'm sorry. We come from different worlds, Marco said softly. Maybe that's why we fit. You keep me grounded. I help you see new possibilities. Marco reached for her hand. It won't be easy. Nothing worth having ever is. In the months that followed, Alexandra and Marco built their relationship brick by brick. She simplified her life, delegating more at work to spend evenings helping Lily with homework. He expanded his culinary horizons, opening a small restaurant with Alexandra's support, a partnership, not a handout, with her as a silent investor and him as the creative force. When Alexandra's parents finally reached out, the meeting was tentative, awkward. But seeing their daughter truly happy, they made an effort with Marco and Lily. Small steps, genuine progress. One evening, as they prepared dinner together in Marco's modest kitchen, now filled with professional-grade equipment that was Alexandra's housewarming gift, Marco seemed preoccupied. Everything okay? She asked, bumping his shoulder gently with hers. He took a deep breath. I've been thinking about something Lily said months ago, at that first dinner. What's that? She asked if you were going to be her new mom. Marco turned off the stove and faced Alexandra. I've been wondering the same thing. Alexandra's hands stilled. Marco. He reached into his pocket and pulled out a small box. I know we come from different places. I know there will always be people who don't understand us. But I've never been more certain of anything than I am of us. When he opened the box, the ring inside was simple but elegant, not the ostentatious diamond her social circle would expect, but something thoughtful and perfect. I don't want your money, your connections, or your status, he said. I just want you, exactly as you are. Will you marry me? Tears spilled down Alexandra's cheeks as she nodded. Yes. 1,000 times yes. From the doorway came a squeal of delight as Lily, who was supposed to be doing homework, rushed in to hug them both. "Does this mean I can call you Mom now?" she asked Alexandra. Alexandra knelt to Lily's level, just as she had at their first meeting. "Only if you want to, sweetheart. But no matter what you call me, I'll always love you as if you were my own." The three of them stood in the kitchen, arms entwined, a family built not from obligation or expectation, but from choice and love, proving that sometimes, the most unexpected connections become our greatest strength. Sometimes the richest people are those who have found what truly matters. If this story touched your heart, please like and subscribe for more real stories about love that transcends all boundaries. Remember, we're all just looking for connection in this world, and sometimes it finds us in the most unexpected places.